Well, hello and welcome back to the Chamber Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Foster Garrett, Director of Marketing and Events for the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, let me tell you what's going on. Every week I interview a different chamber member on the Chamber Vibes podcast to figure out what they do and why they do it, right here at Watts Creative Studios in beautiful Bedford, Virginia. Before we get to the actual podcast, though, I do want to tell you about some of the things that we have coming up at the Chamber. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the year, and we keep having more and more things that for you guys to come to and do. So first up is actually tomorrow. We're closing out 2023 this week. We will have a ribbon cutting for AcuPoint. They've just come to downtown Bedford. They're set up on West Main Street in the old Pat's Barbershop building. And they are a full service agency for anything that you might need for a project, whether it be title, escrow, surveying, design, septic, you name it, they have it. Really, really cool organization, and they've all been super nice. They've already come to a couple of our events and are slowly starting to get more involved. Very enthusiastic about doing business in Bedford. But we will be there tomorrow, December 14th, at 11:30 for their ribbon cutting, and they'll be actually having an open house with refreshments and such from 11 to 2. So if you have the opportunity to go over there, go say hello, grab some bagels, what have you, and just introduce yourself. Always good to have a new business in downtown Bedford. And then on Friday, December 15th, we actually have our holiday open house. This is the only event that we have at our office. Every other event, every single one, is with our members or community organizations or just out in the Bedford area somewhere. But this is the only time that we kind of open up our office for event for itself. So we will have some really amazing food. We're going to decorate a little bit. And it's just a good time if you haven't come and met me, Michelle, and Kayla. This is a great opportunity. Just come say hi and check out our office. And you don't have to be a chamber member. I know I as I've done this podcast, it's really been fun to kind of talk to people who listen to it because I never know who does and who doesn't. So if you are listening to this podcast and you want to learn more about the chamber and what it is that we do and how we operate, just put a face to, my voice, then come say hello to us. And that's December 15th from 11:30 to 2:30. And right after our open house, we are going to Forest for another ribbon cutting at 3:30 for Whistle Express Car Wash. I have already heard some really amazing things about this car wash. There are people that have been commenting on our posts about it, just saying it's the best place in the area. And they also have a little tool that gets in between your seats and stuff. So it's really fancy. It's really nice. And I've passed it a couple times. It's right on 221 in Forest near Browburger and all that good stuff over there. And it is a really big car wash, lots of lights, looks really tricked out. So come check it out. They're going to have their grand opening from 12 to 3 on Friday, and then we'll close it out with ribbon cutting at 3:30, but they'll have some giveaways, and they're actually doing free washes all weekend. So if you don't have the opportunity to come to the ribbon cutting on Friday, make sure to stop by on Saturday and Sunday. Just try it out. I mean, who can say no to a free wash? But that's all that we have coming up in December. We're closing out the year, but I do want to quickly mention that we have a lot of things coming up in January. If you want to stay more connected with the chamber, I have a weekly newsletter, the Chamber Check-In, where it's super helpful. I put all of our upcoming programming. There's resources, there's programming, like slots for all of our members to submit things that are coming up. And it's just a great way to stay in touch with us. And I plan to release, not a full calendar of events because that's going to have to wait till January, but another at a glimpse sheet so you can go ahead and get some things that are in January, February, March on your calendar, and just prep and come ready to go to it. But if you have any other event questions or what have you, we have our full calendar of events on bedfordareachamber.com. And you can always call us or send us an email. I'll say our phone number at the very end, so make sure to listen all the way to the end. But without further ado, let me introduce today's guest. Good morning. Welcome to Alexa Brill with the Roanoke Blacksburg Regional Airport.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Thanks for coming down here.
Absolutely.
So before we kind of get to the question part, can you just talk about a little bit about your background and about your business's background? I know that you are pretty new to the airport.
I am. Alexa Briel, thanks so much for having me.
Mhm.
I lead marketing, PR, and media relations at the Roanoke Blacksburg Regional Airport. I've been there since April, so I am a little new, but having a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Before that, I worked at Virginia Tech. I was the communications director for the police department, transportation, parking, mail, construction, all
wow.
those, spicy topics, but I like to be in the middle of the action, I think. And before that, lived in Northern Virginia for 10 years. So married a Hokie and I guess made my way down to the South here. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
Shout out Red Sox, Patriots. But yeah, it's been a really great experience. So the Roanoke Blacksburg Regional Airport is about 5 miles from downtown Roanoke and I think about 30 or 40 miles here in Bedford. And, before I get going, I want to thank all of our Bedford, Forest, Lynchburg passengers. Shout out to everyone. A really strong contingent in our passenger numbers. And we know we've got a lot of choices on where to fly. So just want to share my appreciation for you. But the airport, we don't control ticket prices. We don't know where your bags are. But we're here to provide infrastructure for airlines to operate in this area, rental cars, parking, all of that good stuff. So, we wish we controlled some of it, but we don't. We're here to advocate for the region at large, for air service and economic development, which is great. We really like to get out there in the community and hear what people are looking for, where they're traveling. For a region of this size, we count about a 2-hour radius of Roanoke in the airport. So we've got some really good service. We have American Airlines that flies to Charlotte and New York City. We've got Delta flying to Atlanta and New York City, LaGuardia. United, Washington, D.C., Dulles, and O'Hare in Chicago. And then we've got Allegiant flying down to Florida, Orlando, Sanford, and Clearwater. So I think those Florida flights sound nice right about now. Yeah. We've got about 16 to 19 flights out a day, which is really good.
Yeah.
And then we serve about 300,000 departing passengers, which is good. Again, we compete with Charlotte, that American hub, about 3 hours away. Washington, Dulles, a couple hours away. Our service complements Lynchburg, so we're kind of a dynamic duo in the region, which is really good. And Greensboro, of course, our passengers sometimes fly through there. So, lots going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't think I've ever had like a breakdown of the airport before. So it's really cool to hear that you guys serve 300,000 passengers.
And growing.
Oh, and growing, of course. So how many flights do you actually operate? Oh, you said 14 to 16.
Yeah, 16 to 19. It really
16,
depends.
19.
So some of those flights operate a few days a week.
Yeah.
Some days we have up to 10 flights even going to Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
So it really depends what the airlines
is it kind of like
provide.
cranking up for the holidays? Or?
For sure. This
is
like our Super Bowl, I guess you could say. Thanksgiving is the strongest, and with all those college students from Liberty, Virginia Tech going back, that week right before Thanksgiving was really active.
I'm sure.
But we're going to gear up again this coming week, which is really fun to see it busy. I wasn't there during the pandemic, but in airport you want really bustling. You want that parking lot full. So it should be good. Let's just hope for good weather.
Yes.
No airline meltdowns, nothing like that.
I know the airport is such, it's always one of those liminal spaces because you go in and you're like waiting there sometimes for quite a while. But it's also at the same time you can meet really, really great people. And I've traveled a decent amount. Maybe not so much in the last couple years because, like you said, the pandemic kind of slowed things down a lot.
Well, you're just gonna have to come out.
I know. Roanoke is actually my airport of choice. Y'all didn't hear me say that. But Woody's laughing in the background.
We did not pay for this,
right? Well, I love to go there, and I love to just like get magazines and hang out and talk to people and people watch. And it's honestly a really good time if you make it a good time.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I agree. It's a cozy little spot.
Yes, it is. And you also have like some nice spots outside. I've had like picnics and stuff in like the grass and watched the airplanes come down. Yeah,
love that.
I know.
Yeah, we've been exploring new opportunities to take advantage of that view.
Oh, really?
In the future, whether it's a beer garden or an overlook where people can plane spot.
That would be amazing.
Now that, we're coming out of the pandemic, I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about air travel like during the pandemic and, how it's changed and if it's bounced back?
Yeah. So it is coming back, and we've all heard about revenge travel where folks that were trying to travel during the pandemic couldn't. So they're saving their trips. But I think they've already gone on those trips, especially last summer.
Yes.
When you look at the industry wide, everybody's traveling. You see those TSA statistics, and it's really great. At Roanoke, we are set to exceed our 2022 passenger numbers, which is really good. 2019, prior to the pandemic, we just had a really good year. So we might not exceed that one, but we're trying to build back our service and build back our passengers and the airlines at large. You probably heard about it. There is a major pilot shortage coming out of those forced retirements and an air traffic controller shortage. And it's real. And we see that. So airlines are going to put their planes where they make the most money. No. We understand, but we want all the service.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks are definitely traveling. And I think I saw a statistic somewhere where 60% of Zennials and Millennials, they want to spend their money on travel and experiences versus saving. It's I try to do both, but
it's hard because I think like I traveled this summer. My sister went to Oxford for
cool.
for study abroad, and so me and my mom, I was supposed to study abroad in London in 2019 and it got canceled, or 2020 it got canceled. So I really was having like FOMO, and she rubbed it in my face, and I said, okay, I'll be there. And so we went, and oh my gosh, we were on like a double-decker plane, which England experience, that was so funny to me.
That's really fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. But there were so many people. Like it was packed. And when you got to London, there was people everywhere. And so it was like, it's amazing to travel, but everybody's traveling.
They are.
So it's crazy.
And you worry about like the sustainability of those spots, like the Colosseum and other places in Rome.
Yes.
I myself took a trip to France with a bunch of my college girlfriends in May. So I'm right there with you. But it's good to see it filling back up again. It is real, those shortages. And they're moving away from some of those smaller aircraft and trying to place larger aircraft places. And we've had a few new aircraft and more seats this year, which is really exciting. It's just getting back out there. And again, we really appreciate everyone who flies with us. It means a lot.
You're so funny. So with the pilot shortages and, like trying to get people trained, is there anything I know that in Lynchburg they have a new pilot training program coming, which is really exciting. Have you guys been considering anything to kind of help with that?
We are, and the Lynchburg Liberty program is kind of like the gold standard, the high water mark. So we're in conversations with local higher ed institutions. There's so many of them about what could be. There's such an opportunity. And when you listen to the radar, some of us nerd out and do that. You can hear the student pilots flying around. And it's really fun, really exciting. We have a great flight school as well.
Awesome.
But there are opportunities, and I'd like, to do some events in the spring or in the summer where you can bring in students, especially female students, just to learn and see the airport. Because once you come out, you get a little excited.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a really big opportunity there.
Yeah, an event that we do in the fall is a career and technical education expo. So any like skilled training programs or anything that gets you a certification of some kind that isn't like going to 4-year school and just
Right.
getting a degree. Like we really want to like showcase that stuff because I'm from Bedford County. I went through the schools here and it's changed a lot in like the 6 years that I've been out. I know I'm very young. But it's really interesting how they've kind of like changed the tune in some ways from just being like you either go to college or you just get a job,
Right.
to showing the different, like the breadth of opportunities available to you. And like pilot training is one of them.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is so
for
cool.
sure. And, we have through Piedmont Airlines, they have a maintenance hangar at the airport. And I think they, employ maybe 50, 60, 70 folks. Engineering, there's just so many careers that, I was never exposed to either.
Right. But it's like you said, you kind of nerd out the more you learn.
Yeah.
So to kind of get back to the airport itself, you mentioned that you have some things like you're considering for improvements. Is there any plans that you can kind of like talk about?
Sure. So the airport is in the midst of its master planning process. So that is a framework, a living document, if you will, guiding the development and construction at the airport over the next 20 years. So it covers things like the terminal, the runways, the taxiways, the parking lot, the surrounding roads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, the cargo, the general aviation. So it's where we could go. And it's a bunch of different projects that we basically pursue them if the region wants them, if the region hits certain, call it planning activity levels. So population growth, income kind of milestones, more passenger traffic at the airport. So that is in approval or in review now with the FAA. So we work closely with them to plot out where we might be headed. So some things that we have in the works in the more immediate future that will just improve the overall passenger experience and make it easier to do business and run airlines here would be the new TSA checkpoint. We're engineering that out right now. So if you ever fly out first thing in the morning at 4 or 5 a.m., the line backs up a whole bunch there at the TSA checkpoint. It's kind of tight. So we'll be re-engineering that. So that second floor of the airport might look a little different.
Nice.
Right now, if you check a bag, I don't often check a bag. I pride myself on that. But you have to drag your bag to the security kind of screening machines. I don't know if you remember that. So those will go away in the near future. And
Oh, nice.
just make it a bit easier for folks to check their bags. We're embarking on a parking lot enhancement project. Right now, it can be a little tight to navigate around. Of course, I park across the street. Plenty of room across there. Shout out to the overflow lot. But we're going to make it easier to navigate, repave, look at the surrounding roads. But the biggest hot topic at the airport, if you're in those circles, is potentially pursuing a runway extension.
Oh, wow.
So we've got 2 active runways, and they are both perfectly safe and can accommodate aircraft from training small planes to huge UPS cargo jets. But we operate under some exemptions with the government and how long they are. So we're looking at this master plan to say, hey, is this the time to extend it, sometime in the next 20 years? And that could bring in larger aircraft, all sorts of technology coming out with cargo and unmanned systems. So it's kind of the time to get ready. And if you've ever driven on 581 around Roanoke City, the runway could potentially go over 581.
Oh, really?
And you see that at bigger airports like
Yeah.
Atlanta or Chicago, but it could be coming here. It's one of those things where the whole community has to buy in if that's something we're going to pursue. And we've had a lot of public outreach sessions, and so far folks are really supportive. It's just got to make sure it makes sense for the region.
Yeah.
So always little things going on behind the scenes, potentially pursuing making the terminal and the concourse a little bit bigger. So where you wait for those planes and you grab your magazine and your smoothie, kind of reworking that area a bit too. So
That's awesome.
Plenty on the horizon.
I was about to say, that's like,
Mhm.
it is the master plan.
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised if there wasn't a bunch of things on there. But
Yeah. It's
the
really good.
the runway extension is really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could really change, like, Roanoke as a whole.
It could. And people, they just get really fascinated by it, and me too. So there's 4 options on how you can extend the runway at the end of each end of the runway. Mountains are on one side, McAfee Knob, all the huge Appalachian mountains. And then you've got a big drop off on one other end. And then you've got the Valley View Mall on another end, which is, people are like, oh, you're going to get rid of the mall? Nope, we're going to go over the highway because it makes the most sense to extend it.
As if we would ever get rid of them all.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
There's also Hirschberger Road and a school down there.
Yes.
And there's a lot going on over there.
It is very busy.
We all love the Olive Garden and everything that are positioned there at the end of the runway. But, and folks are like, oh, will we get service to the West Coast if we have a longer runway or international? Probably not at this time, but if the passenger numbers show it, if the economic development numbers show it, then you never know. It could be we could all be flying to the West Coast.
That would be so cool. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be a big change.
And, the aircraft now are, like I said, are getting bigger. They're trying to make the most bang for their buck. So having a runway that accommodates larger aircraft is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So you said that for big projects like this to get kind of pushed through, they have to be championed by the community. So what can we do as, people that use the airport? What can we do to kind of like support these projects?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And we strive to collaborate really closely with chambers across the region, coming out and supporting our public events and promoting usage of the airport and working together on how we can make the best business case for the region when we go to airlines. And the support helps tremendously. And we've had this has been at least like a 2-year process after COVID. It had to be paused for a while where so many stakeholders have weighed in. But really using the airport and promoting it is super helpful.
Well, excellent. For sure. We can do that. So are there any other new things I know you said that you would love for, more airlines to come there. How does that process work? Is there anything new coming anytime soon?
So I so wish that we were in charge of that process at the end of the day. It's an airline decision. We don't have anything to announce at this point. I wish I could have a mic drop moment and tell you more, but we meet all the time with airlines, network planners. At the end of the day, it's their business decision. Gotcha. But how the process works is, again, we meet throughout the year with them, one-off meetings and conferences and all of that good stuff. And we work with chambers to develop kind of a portrait of the region. The airlines data, they've got more data than anyone. It's amazing from their apps and their geofencing and their credit cards. They know where you're drinking your coffee, where you're flying. If you're driving down to Greensboro, I know no one listening to this would ever do that, but for Charlotte, but they know. So we try to fill in the gaps in telling the story here. So we look at and highlight population, areas of growth, like down here in Bedford, Forest, the lake. We try to kind of showcase that, talk about wages, talk about tourism, higher ed institutions, just so they can get a good lay of the land. So for pursuing potentially a specific destination, let's pick Boston because, I'm from there and I would love nothing more than that. So when we meet with the airline, we show our, 25 most traveled to destinations. Then we look at how many passengers are flying there a day. So for example, now we have about 60 to 70 passengers flying to Boston a day. And so the airlines will say, well, we're using a regional jet that has 50 to 70 seats. Well, that might work for, a day. If they're looking to make the most money, they're going to want a bigger aircraft. And can we support that? Or would a place like Charlotte or Greensboro somewhere support a larger plane? But anywho, so we promote that. We make the case for, hey, there's these companies down here in Bedford that might have a headquarters up there, and they might guarantee this many folks traveling. So that's part of that business economic development.
So the regional profile is very important.
It is, yeah. And that's why I try, and our team tries to get out and meet with the chambers, meet with the planning commissions to make that argument. And not to say it doesn't hurt when you're tweeting at the airlines. I know I do that all the time. Or you email them and you let them know you want those destinations. They're also going to look at how many folks are driving to Charlotte or Greensboro or DC or and they charge a lot less because it's larger airports, it's their hubs, but they do like to make $1 or $2 at the regional airports. So, and it depends. So right now we're really focused on West Coast or service to the West Coast via a Dallas flight or a Denver flight. We're also looking at South Florida. That's a really strong market for us. Really all Florida. I think Orlando, Sanford, and the MCO airport is our biggest market, but tons of folks are trying to connect down to Florida.
I've flown from Roanoke to Orlando many times.
On the Allegiant?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
It's so convenient.
It's extremely convenient. It's only like a 2-hour flight, if that.
Yeah. So those are great. And those flights are about 90% full, which is really exciting. So if we're making the case for Dallas, for example, we not only show how many folks are traveling there every day, but all the connections behind it. So we kind of make a larger cumulative business case. There might be 400 people going out to the West Coast that could connect. So it's fun to get into it. And we work with great consulting partners. And our executive director, Mike Stewart, is an industry veteran. And he's just really astute. So yeah,
awesome.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like
now you have too.
I know. Oh, I love the podcast because I get to learn so much from people, and I think I would love for you to talk about this, but I think everybody has an inkling of how important airports are to to your own like community and region, but also in terms of attraction and retaining like businesses and developing housing and all of that. Can you just kind of touch on like what the airport means to the community as a whole in terms of advancement?
Yeah, it really does. It's kind of like the nexus of a community, and the economic development argument is really strong. I think it was something like the Roanoke Airport made an economic impact of about $250 million in the community just through, the tickets, through the tourism, through the passengers traveling through. And the argument for Virginia airports is just exceptionally strong. So when folks maybe want to drive down to North Carolina, and it could be a price or a just ease of a direct flight, we say, don't you want to keep your jobs here in Virginia?
Support local.
Yeah, support local, fly local. And that's going to be, as we move ahead, just a really strong ethos for marketing campaigns and our outreach. And when we do meet with local businesses and they kind of tell us their pain points, we listen and we bring that back to the airlines when we can. And I think we'll engage some new surveys and work with chambers like in Bedford to deploy some of that so we can hear what folks want. And I think we all know that leisure travel is back. I'm not sure if business travel is back with Zoom and
true. That's very true.
Yeah, I love this face-to-face. It would be totally different on Zoom.
It would absolutely be different. I really like since we're in the end of the year, I'm having a lot of meetings like every single day. And it's always so much easier, I feel like, to communicate to each other just face to face. And it's so worth it. Like I love like being able to have the option to do virtual. Yeah. Because it makes things easier.
It does. And yeah, there's still value in that. And I would look to you and our other chamber partners on how we can best communicate the value of the airport to the general public and to your businesses in more plain English. After COVID, we've kind of had to remind folks where we fly and the role of the airport. But I think now we're in that. What's the value and how do we get that out there? So very open to suggestions.
We should definitely talk after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Love that.
Because a big part of Chambers is that we touch a lot of people, we build a lot of relationships, and we help others build relationships. Mm-hmm. So the more information that we can have on what your needs are and, any statistics or great highlights that you can provide. We love pamphlets. We love any type of printed materials that we can just take with us.
Very good.
But all of that stuff, let's talk.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you'd like to touch on? I feel like with the airports, there's always so much to talk about.
There really is. And no 2 days are the same. So right now, like I said, we're, now that I've been in my role for about 8 months and you know how this goes, you kind of get a lay of the land and then you look forward strategically. So folks will very much see the airport out in the community, whether it's just, information sessions or meeting with chambers or planning commissions to talk about our air service priorities, talk about the master plan. You'll see us out there. I think you'll see our marketing and advertising out there a bit more. And that's where we could really use your help in honing in on the messaging. We have to promote the airport just generally and remind folks we're there.
And you guys are also a major employer.
Yeah. So we operate through a airport commission, and we have about 6 members on that appointed by the city of Roanoke County, Salem, and some others. We have about 70 employees at the commission, and then hundreds upon hundreds working at the airport in around at the cargo facility, maintenance, rental cars. That's huge business. Parking. It's all good. It really is an economic engine, but we need help telling that story and then amplifying it.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of recruitment, are you guys hiring at the moment?
So we are not, but our airline, we're pretty fully staffed.
That's awesome.
It's exciting. Yeah. That kind of changes throughout the year, but our airline partners are always hiring at the airport. If you want those flight benefits, something to look into.
Very true.
You can work at one of the contractors, cargo, UPS, FedEx, always booming, general aviation. So yeah, there are definitely opportunities there. Keep an eye out for. We'll be sure to share them.
Yeah, that's excellent. When I usually ask, how people can get more involved, they say, "Oh, well, we have 100 opportunities." It's not often that people say we're good.
Yeah, we are good. But we want to get out there more and meet people. And
that's awesome. You're in a great position to do so.
Yeah, and any ideas around reaching younger audiences, not just to fly, but for those aviation careers. I think that'll be really, really fun to explore that. The best way to reach those youngsters.
Well, my last question to you: what is your favorite part about the Roanoke Airport? Whether it be working there or just the airport in general.
It really is such a great, great place, I think. And this being in marketing, the sheer variety of working at an airport is really fun. So even this morning when I stopped by the airport, I saw a couple of planes leaving. So I hopped out, snapped some videos, got some great photos of sunrise. And then, you get to work on social media. I manage our volunteer programs.
Awesome.
There's a lot of good face-to-face interactions there. Try to walk around, talk to our customers when we can, working on marketing, advertising, and then getting out and about in the community. So variety is really fun. This is a great, great place to work. And I think there's so much to be excited about the airport. So now's the time to join us on this.
Yeah. Well,
this journey.
You didn't mention volunteers earlier. Do you want to talk about what your volunteers do?
Yeah. So when you go to the airport, there is the desk up front, and we've got lots of friendly faces
Awesome.
wearing their red vests, and they're there to help answer questions for passengers. It's staffed most days of the week, nearly all day. Some of these volunteers have been doing it for 15, 20
Oh, wow.
years, and their knowledge is much advanced of mine. But they also kind of serve as ambassadors for the community. Folks come in, they might need help getting ride share, or they want to know where to eat. And I try to ask them where they like to eat. Then I go there, where to stay, or how to navigate around. They have maps. So that program's been going on, for a very long time.
That's awesome.
We're always recruiting new volunteers. We're just to help fill shifts, and it's a fun way to learn about the airport, and we try to give them lots of education throughout the year too. But
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, it's a nice community touch point.
Yeah. Well, if people want to get involved with volunteering or learn more about the airport, what is the best way to do so?
So they can visit flyroa.com. But really, if you're a follower of any of our social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, send us a message. Yeah, and we'll get back to you. You could also share some of those great photos you take. We love it. Or just send us your thoughts about what we can do to improve.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me this
thanks
morning.
for having me.
Of course, this has been an awesome conversation, and hopefully I'll come fly out of Roanoke soon.
We would love that. Thank you, everyone, for flying our way, and I guess I survived my first podcast.
Please. Acting like it's a gladiator fight.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening to the Chamber Vibes podcast. This is actually our last podcast of 2023, so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any feedback or thoughts for 2024, please send us an email. Send me an email at marketing@baccva.org. And if you want to learn more about the Chamber, you can go to our website, bedfordareachamber.com. Or if you have some questions, you can just give us a phone call. We can be reached any sort of way. 540-586-9401 is our phone number. And keep an ear out in January for the next Chamber Vibes podcast.